In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up this donut chart from a custom grouped pivot table. From here, we can see the relative proportions of employee headcount versus pay per department grouping. This video is part of a series where I will take you step by step through the process of building this dashboard in Excel. To see the full series, check out the playlist and subscribe to see all of the videos. To check out other tutorials and reviews of other tools, please check out my channel. In the previous video, we pulled in our data via Power Query, also known as Get and Transform in Excel 2016, applied a top 10 item filter, and adjusted a setting to stop our dashboards from becoming distorted on refresh. Now in this example, we used the top 10 items, or the top 10 departments. The problem with this view is that it truncates some of our data. So we used to have 16,000 records, and now we only have around 13,000. So the other thing that we might want to do with this is to take our top 10 items and then group everything else into a grouping called Other. To do that, I'm going to copy this table. I'm going to paste a copy over here, remove my grouping. And what I'm going to do this time is use a grouping called Group by Text. So I've got my top 10 items here. So I'm going to take all of these values. Now all of these values are in a single range here. If I want to select another value, which is not part of this continuous range, I can just use the Control key to say select this item as well, and right click, and then I can click Group. Now that's going to add everything to this group called Group 1. Let me rename this to Other and hit Enter. I'm then going to come over to here and collapse all of these. Now you notice here that what's happened to our pivot table, it's actually added an additional field. The field inside our table was called Department, and now I have this extra field called Department 2, which includes this value of Other. We can see that over here as well, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's reapply a sort to this data here. The other thing I want to do to this summary is add an annual total pay over here. So I've got the sum here. Now you'll notice here that this value is very big, so it doesn't really display very well. Let's see if we can go into the number formatting to clean this up. Now when formatting the numbers in the pivot table, it's really important that you come over to here, right click, and click number formatting like this inside the pivot table. This formats the fields inside the pivot table, as opposed to me coming over here, selecting these cells and coming over to home and using these formatting options here. What happens is if I format my data this way, my formatting is only applied to these 10 cells, and if my pivot table changes in size, then I'm not going to have the correct cells formatted. So the correct way to do this is to come over and click Number Format. Now because I have quite a large value over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a custom format. And I'm going to come over to here. This hash, comma, hash, hash adds these commas between the as a thousands separator here. Now what you can do is by coming to the end of this and adding a comma, I've now turned that into thousands. Add another comma, and that's millions. I'm going to add inside here quotes M, so I know what the scale is, and click OK. So now here I can see I've got 229 million. Let's do something similar for the headcount. So let's come over to here, number format, custom. And this time I have a smaller number. So let's say I want this to show as 3.9 million. So I want to add a decimal place to this. So to do that, I can add 0.0 before adding my comma. And this is now 3.9 thousand. Again, let's add in quotes K to the end of this so that I know what the scale is that we're dealing with. Let's now update some of these labels so they're a little easier to read. Let's change that to headcount. And let's change that to pay. Let's go ahead and visualize this data using a pivot chart. And for this, I'm going to use a special type of pie chart called a donut. And I'm going to click OK. Now, the nice thing about this here is we've got our headcount on the inside here, and we have our pay on the outside here. And what you can see from this is the proportion of headcount versus the proportion of pay. So let me just add the labels on here, just make this a little easier to read. So add data labels to the inside, data labels to the outside. And let's just change that color to something slightly easier to see. That's better. So we can see here, because the inside ring is smaller than the outside ring, we can see that a smaller percentage of the population is getting a larger percentage of the pay. So let's go to this next chunk of the ring over here. So 3,500 headcount, which makes up 21% of the population, is receiving 153 million, which is only 18% of the pay. So an interesting piece of analysis that you can do here. While we're here, let us label our charts. I'm going to add a chart element. I'm going to add a chart title. Yep, I think that looks good there. Let us call this cost versus headcount. Okay, so that is using a group by text. Now there's two other types of groupings that we can use inside a pivot table. One of them is group by number and the other one is group by date.
If you found this video helpful, please remember to give a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to learn tips, tricks, and tools to help you and your team work more effectively with data, hit the subscribe button and the notification icon so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.